All right, I think we can start. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Menace to Tacos, good morning to you, sir. Wonderful morning. Gentleman Rhino went ahead and actually just told us. I don't know why he told us, but he told us what he's drinking. Nobody asked, but he told us what he was drinking. He just said ice salted caramel coffee, which looks really, really good, I gotta say. A very, very special welcome to Shade Gaming. Thank you so much for joining. Sir Benford, always my buddy from another, Duddy? My buddy from another. I can see you're very happy about it. Eric is here. Very, very good morning to you, Eric. Nice to have you here, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to start our show today. I've got a very, very special show. I'm kind of excited about today's show. I'm not going to lie. And listen. I milked it. Berserker is here. I milked it. I used the Emmy winning. Every single post I had was like, he's a primetime Emmy winner. He is. He's shaking his head, but he is. It's not the only thing he does. This guy is a phenomenal artist. He's a phenomenal DJ. Yeah, you forgot about We'll get there. Don't worry about it. Yeah, he's a phenomenal guy. He's super intelligent, super humble. Ladies and gentlemen, friends from all over, I would like to introduce to you Stefan Grambart, otherwise known as Gentleman Rhino. Welcome to the stream, sir. Nice to have you here.
Hey, everybody!
Hey! For a second there, I thought we were going to have a technical... There's always that moment where we're like, oh, shit, nope. Technical issues? No, we're good? Okay, we're good. And then it finds out, like, oh, my microphone is popping or something like that. Stefan, thank you so much for being with us today, buddy. I'm so happy to have you here. Yeah, I did. I milked it. Like, I did. It's not often that I get an Emmy winner on the show, so please accept the fact that I did use that for clout. I think it's the normal thing to do.
That is A-okay.
Right?
It's something that I should probably be talking about or milking more, but it is also something that is a few years in the past now. So.
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. It's true.
For me, it doesn't matter. It's like, what did you do? Oh, like I do stuff. And again, like we are going to get to it. We are going to get to it, but I've been on your website, right? So I try to do a little bit of sleuthing.
Snooping.
A little snooping, a little sleuthing. I like to figure out a little bit about creeping. I do some light creeping. Just some light creep. Not major. I'm not pulling IP addresses and shit like that, but I am doing some sleuthing. I'll call it sleuthing. Menace says still a huge achievement. We are going to talk about it in a bit, but first of all, thank you so much for being here. Stefan, first things first, look what I did for you. I prepared a command for you. Oh, straight out the bat, Batty cheering with 20. Thank you so much for the bits, Batty. Thank you so much for being here. The Irish bitties. Oh, they're Irish bitties. How hard you know it. Thank you for coming out to the stream today. It's my terrible Irish accent. I'm allowed to do it because I am actually 3/8 Irish. There you go. Look at that. Our guest today is Emmy winner Stefan Grambart. Find out more at his website. Find out more at his personal Twitter. Find out more at his Twitch channel, which is Gentleman Rhino, and gaming Twitter, which is also Gentleman Rhino. So long as you're not lurking. Sometimes I lurk, sometimes I do other stuff. I'm a little bit of everything. How hard you did, Batty. Thank you so much for being here. Origami Dog, thank you so much for being here. All right.
Hey, Origami.
Yeah, Origami. Yeah, you became friends. I pulled a little. I did a little something, and I got a chance to introduce you to some of my wonderful community. And it is your community, by the way. It's your community. Mm-hmm. We're gonna talk about this networking thing in just a bit. But first of all, hi. Who are you?
Hi, who am I?
Yeah,
okay,
hi.
My name is Stefan Grambart,
yes.
And I on Twitch go by Gentleman Rhino. It's been my gamer tag for years. So let's see, where do I start? I got started in the creative industries as an animator and worked on some films and TV shows and games, and then sort of got really interested through the sort of gaming aspect in the internet. I have a few gray hairs in my beard, so I'm a bit older than most.
No. Like a fine cheese.
Oh, okay. Well, then we have to talk about the elephant in the room.
What?
So Tamara and I know each other through our master's program.
That's right.
And where I always joked that I was the dad of the class because I was substantially older than some of the other students, to the point where a few of them were young enough to be my kids. And then Tamara, and I quote, said, "It's not like you're 45 or anything." To which I had to reply, that was exactly my age.
Look, I didn't know.
Nailed it.
No, look, I didn't know. I didn't know that we were okay. Fine. I do my sleuthin', and you do your your mental arithmetics and remember things that I kind of got really embarrassed about. And they said, yeah, I'm like, dude, come on, it's not like you're 45. I only said it because you look so damn good for your age.
Shucks.
That's it. That's the only reason I said it, and I was truly taken aback by that, you know?
I have no hang-ups with how old I am. It's literally just the number of years I've been on this planet, so
and
I can't really...
And look at that setup. Look at that. You've got your DSLR set up, so like you can't hide. You look great either way, but that camera is going to show everything, and you look great. Julie versus the world, thank you so much for being here. And Tano, Nick, thank you. I think we should discuss who has the better beard, and Nick wants to talk about the beard. Betty, very good morning to you. We can talk about beards. I mean, what's your beard care routine? No, we'll talk about the beard care routine later. You have a couple of grays. I'm getting grays. Nick, I don't know, man. I mean, listen, this guy, I've had this ever since I was 13. Not kidding. I've shaved it 3 times. This is in fact Jafar. I named him Jafar the Fourth. And
nice.
He's the fourth because I've only shaved him 3 times in my life thus far. Neither here nor there. Let's get back to it. Why gentleman rhino? We had this discussion, but I think it's cute. Not everyone has a reason that they call their channels what they call it, but I think you had a little reason for that.
Yeah, so it actually started off with an email address that I put together called Spamosaurus Rex.
Ooh, good one.
And it was literally like, I'm going to make an email account for whenever I have to sign up for anything that I don't want to sign up for and give my personal email out for.
Right. Which is now become pretty much everything. Yeah,
but the issue there was when I was in person at a an open house, and they're like, put down your email address, and I'm like, okay, if I put down Spamosaurus Rex, they're just gonna know that I'm never gonna read this email. But anyway, so I started thinking of a different one to use, and this was around the same time that I was getting, or I had already gotten the gaming tag, so for Steam and stuff.
Right.
So Gentleman Rhino was a character I came up with for a kid's book. Mr. Osterus, the Gentleman Rhinoceros.
Okay, it's a mouthful, but I mean, listen, like that's the thing. Like automatically, Batty's like great. Nick is like, love that. Sans Pineapple, thank you for being here. Hemorrhage, thank you for being here. But one of the things that you and I like, we kicked off very quickly. Because I love your attention to puns. I love your usage of language to indicate humor, to like indicate what kind and like different types of humor. Like some is kind of like snarky, some is playful, some like you're smart with the way you do things. Oh. And this is one of the things that I want to talk about in your craft, right? So I didn't know how to introduce you today because you're a podcaster, you're a graphic designer. You are a writer, you're a content creator, you're creative. Mm-hmm. The DJ part, again, we'll get to that, but like what do you exactly. Wow. Like and Nick, he's actually really, really good. Like really good. I come across a few people and I'm just like, shit. Like, okay, you are a talented. Yeah, man. So what is your what do you call yourself? You call yourself a creative creator or a content creator?
Yeah, it's a loaded question, especially in my career right now, because titles are always very difficult,
right?
Especially in multi-platform sort of transmedia. I was a creative director at a studio, but that studio came out of sort of like the advertising agency model, where creative director meant like the guy in charge of the creative vision of all projects.
In the dark, thank you so much for the follow. Please continue, Stefan, please.
Yep. So then, as I started to work more in games and film, creative director means something completely different in both of those. So so it just became this thing where I was like, I gotta start thinking about what I call myself. So I'm currently sort of going with narrative designer or narrative director, which in games sort of means the person who oversees the overall story of a thing.
Okay.
Because that's what I'm getting hired to do most of the time, is work on like overall game story, and then sometimes getting down to the writer level and actually writing bits of dialogue.
So, I mean, are you a writer? Like, do you consider yourself a writer foremost, or does that not necessarily overshadow anything else? It all has to meld together.
It kind of all melds together. Like I said, I got my start in animation, but like hand drawn. So I was an illustrator and an artist, and then in sort of like took this detour through advertising where I was doing graphic design. I used Photoshop. I still teach that as well.
Okay,
and
listen. Before you go on, I don't know if this is right or wrong. I'm just going to show you a picture from 1999. And I want to know if you drew this or not, because it does have your name on it, but this was the farthest back thing that I could find with your name on it, and it was from Ottawa.
Yeah,
I
think I know what it is.
Where you did grow up. So I'm going to go ahead and show this to our lovely friends over here. Was this yours?
Oh my lord! I do not remember this at all. What is this from?
Okay, so this is from, I'll tell you what this is from. This is from the Ontario Public Interest Research Group from 1999, and it was actually numerous small stories and articles about Indigenous rights in Canada. And I believe this is your drawing.
I think it is, but I have like... Wow. I mean, that is totally like the style of drawing that I had back then. So
I was trying to look at it. I didn't want to post something that I didn't know was yours. And like, it could be, I'm taking a risk here, but I figured it is actually yours. So this was one of the first pieces of art that I could find for you.
I got published. Wow.
Yeah. 1999 graphics, Stefan Grambart. There you go. So, I mean, you know, I was going to wait to actually segue here. Tamara finding works that even Stefan doesn't know of. That's what I love doing. I love doing this. Like, I love doing it. But okay, so you did. I remember one time you and I were sitting and we were having a discussion. I was brand new to Canada, and we were sitting with our friend Rebecca having lunch. And I said, oh, well, you know, Canada's great because it accepts everybody. And like, basically I was still young and green and gills. I had little gills, you know. And I was talking about how, to me, coming as an outsider, you know, Canada was the perfect place where, you know, there was no racism, there's no anything. And you started actually basically teaching me a little bit about history, the backstory in history. As you know, and specifically we talked about Indigenous rights and stuff like that. Now, I wanted to wait to get to this, but as an artist, how much pressure is on you to use your art as a platform to connect different cultures? Do you feel that, or are you just like, listen, I like to create cool shit, I'm not political? You know, when do you feel like you need to step in and use art as a bridge to get people to understand things from the outside looking in?
That's a really good question. I mean, personally, I've never been very political, and so I try to keep that out of any of the work that I do as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because I just don't feel that I have the right to comment or to make those stories. I always feel like if you're gonna include something in your artwork or in your writing,
yeah,
and you're saying something definitive, you have to, at the very least, have an understanding to the point where you can make form a personal opinion.
Right.
And if I feel like I don't have enough information to be able to form a personal opinion on a subject matter, then I don't want to comment on it, because then I might not be commenting on the truth. I might not be commenting on what I actually believe because I don't know enough.
Right.
I think in recent years that has changed somewhat, because a lot of the work that I'm doing, or some of the work that I'm doing, is now moving more towards factual and away from just fiction. I was always a fiction guy.
But I mean, this is what I've noticed. We're going to go through a little bit of your work right now, and you were talking about the internet and stuff, and even what we studied and even what we learned, and even the amount of information that we're open to now, where you really have no excuse not to do your research if you really want to. Nick agrees. He says, brilliant point. Sometimes listening allows us to learn where we can get involved in the same conversations in the future. So sometimes you do have to sit it out and listen before you jump in and do a knee-jerk reaction. But a lot of your projects have sort of been, I remember you did the literacy project, which was something which was meant to mimic, somebody who didn't quite have, the literary skills that we take for granted, and it was supposed to like put you in that position, which I thought was really cool. You have another one, which is basically how the internet is being used throughout, different high rises, and how it's become this hub of communication. And it's no more poignant than it ever has been right now, specifically over the past year, where everything has turned into, we have everything in front of us. Why do we not put in the effort to find out? So I mean, like, I feel like you have been working on that, but is this direction?
So those projects were client based. So I work with people who come to either myself as a freelancer or before when I was working at a studio.
Yeah.
And they have their story to tell. So they are the ones who are essentially providing that insight and providing that research. Where then my work comes into play is how to take the story that they're telling and expand on it through whatever platform we're moving into.
Right.
So you've got Universe Within up here.
Right.
So this is a project. Kat Cizek is an acclaimed documentary filmmaker. The High Rise project was spawned over multiple different documentary, like interactive documentaries. Universe Within being sort of like the capstone, the final project of that. And that was the one that you mentioned, where it's about how different people are using the internet to connect when they are sort of confined or living in these high-rise buildings where they may not have connection with other people, like their family or whatever. So there's several different stories. I
want to play this right now, but I want to know what was your main role in creating what we're about to see right here.
So you want me to talk over it, or you want to? Okay.
Just a brief background. I want to play the trailer. I thought the trailer was really cool. It got me really interested. Sure. But I mean, like, as the narrative writer that you were talking about, like, how did you meld everything together, and what did you do?
Yeah. So at this point, with this project, because it was an interactive documentary, the story and the footage and the interviews and all the little like individual stories, Kat Cizek and her team pulled together. Was working with the NFB, the National Film Board here in Canada, and they came to us, to the company I was working at, and I was an art director and then later on creative director on that project.
Okay.
So the idea was how, because it was interactive in its own, there was no like documentary film to work from or work towards. It was all just, how are we going to take this story and make it something interactive that people can use online.
All right. Well, I just want to show this real quick. I thought this was super interesting. We've got a couple of things that I do want to share, but this was one of the ones that it struck me, shall we say. Here we go. If it works. Technical issues! Arg!
Can you see me? Of course you can. I'm standing right in front of you, flesh and blood. Well, not flesh and blood, of course. I'm a fictional creation of the documentary makers to be a sort of spirit guide to help you navigate through the true stories on this site.
Digital native. That's what I am. I grew up on the internet. Actually, I was sort of created by the internet. I'm a program, a piece of code. How amazing is that? I mean, I can find out the answer to anything in a matter of seconds.
This project is called The Universe Within. It's about how people in high-rises use the internet to connect to other people online, and how that affects their daily lives in the real world, whatever that is. I don't live in just one world. I live in many. I'm always in formation, always flowing between worlds, transcending.
I picture this beautiful web all over the earth like a blanket, and it's kind of soft and glowing, and we can just reach up and touch it and know that we're touching someone way on the other side of the earth.
I'm a medium. That means I can talk to ghosts. Here online, everyone is a ghost. I can see you, I can hear you, but I can't touch you. And even when you're offline, even when you're dead, traces of you will live online forever.
Thank you for choosing me, for exercising your right to choose. It's important. Who am I? I'm an actor hired by the makers of this documentary. A malicious foreign actor. But even if I'm not real, the stories on this site are.
That was good, man. It was good. It gives me. Yeah, that's some Black Mirror shit right there. That's Universe When. That was a project that you worked on. We're going to talk about a lot of different projects that you did work on.
Oh,
but
boy.
Again, they're very story based. They're very, very heavy, very story heavy. Ray Jones, I love Saturday talk shows. Got you on my phone listening like a podcast brother. That's why I put on podcast. Wow, never thought of the internet as a ghost. A couple of things there you're like, ooh, like that's funny. That's what Quan took from it. I took from it. Oh, it's the blanket. It's the blanket. So Quan takes the ghost, and I take the blanket of coziness. I think that's interesting. I don't know. I could be maybe being a tad too philosophical, but I thought that was funny that we both took the different keywords and like caught them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, you got chills from that. I got chills from that too, just from the end of it as well. But listen, this is the big one in the room. I want to talk a little bit about your gaming. All right, so we are going to get to the Emmy. We are going to talk. I do want to talk about virtual reality and the future of virtual reality, because actually I have a very good friend who's starting to stream virtual. Menace to Tacos is streaming regularly, at least once a week. The rhino in the room, so to speak. Ooh.
Nice.
So Menace is showing me that VR is taking center stage. But before we get to VR and the work that you did, the first ever Emmy winning virtual reality category. Dan Spearin is here, our mentor and friend, or my mentor. I don't know. You guys are.
Hey, Dan.
Dan's here. I'm like here. You guys are like, yeah, you're out. Thank you for being here. So I want to talk a little bit about your gaming. Stefan is above us all. Emmy winner Stefan. It's funny. He actually commented on my post. He's like, okay, Emmy winner, Gentleman Rhino, and then in tiny words, Stefan Grambart. But that's the format. It's Twitch first and then the person. But anyway, great segue. Speaking of your gaming, so the Twitch thing, you came up with something. You're brand new. You've been doing this, I suppose, for really like a month. I suppose something around that.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Maybe a little bit longer, but sporadically. It's only really started kicking off in the last month. So,
you came up with some, and again, this is the creative in you. When I talk about you to people, I say your creativity is one of the most endearing things about you, because the way you view concepts and the way you mold things and put something together. I love the fact that one of your main shows now is called 8-Year-Old Squad Leader. And this was it was just a great way to be like, listen, I'm playing, but I'm gonna do something different. Give us the rules of 8-Year-Old Squad Leader.
for sure. So the whole thing got started because a close friend of mine who I do a lot of my gaming with, Pripyat, his 8-year-old son has been playing games and is actually quite good at them.
Yeah.
Kid Codifier. And we were playing some Ghost Recon Breakpoint together. And just at one point, we just started following his orders. We're like, how do you want to take the space? Tell us what to do. And then I think at one point, one of us kind of joked, like, I didn't do anything because you didn't give me any orders. So then we thought, oh, that'd be kind of funny, is to just have him be in charge, but fully in charge. Like, we can't do anything without his express permission. And he loved it. He just loves.
Of course, this is a kid's dream. Not only does he get to basically like boss around the bosses. Was there a raid? Who did a raid? Hi, hi. But yeah, I thought it was a really good one. Not only does he get to boss around the adults, including his father, he gets to hang out with people who are older than him as well. And I remember when I was that age, like I just wanted to hang out with my dad, my brother, like everybody, my uncles, you know what I mean? So let's go ahead and I want to play this clip right here for you guys. It's just an explanation as to what it actually is.
Hey everybody, we're back again for another episode of 8-Year-Old Squad Leader this week, and hopefully I will have a high enough mic volume. I'm checking it, and it looks like it's pretty good. So yeah, let's try that one out. Just a quick recap on the rules. So this is the show where Pripyat and I are in a squad that is led by his 8-year-old son, Kid Codifier. Now, we have to do everything that he orders us to do, although we have said that there is a leeway for common sense, but for the most part, self-preservation is not included as part of common sense. So we have to do whatever.
I love that. Self-preservation, forget it. We're not doing self-preservation. We're just going to go ahead and do whatever he wants. Yeah, and that's the end of that. You had another really cool idea as well, is that you wanted to do gaming which had to do with No Man's Sky under construction?
Yep.
Under construction. So, I don't have that ready, but like what's the idea behind that?
I love base building. I mean, to be perfectly honest, when I was thinking about starting to stream was back when I was really getting into Fallout 4 and building bases. Like I did nothing in that game except for run around and build bases.
Yeah.
I had some mods on my PlayStation account for that one where I didn't even bother doing the story. I would just run around and unlock bases. So
who needs gameplay when you can build bases? I mean, yeah, for sure.
I had one playthrough, but then after that, it was just all about building realistic-looking bases.
Right.
And when Fallout 76 was announced, I was all like, "This is it. This is going to be the game. I'm going to start, becoming a Twitch streamer. I'm going to use Fallout 76 and make base building the main thing that I do." And then got the game and was kind of underwhelmed by it. So
as were many people, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, all your base belong to us, Arbor Vintage. Yes, all your base belong to us. Very, very, very good reference. Very niche reference. I appreciate that you threw it in there. But also, Origami had an interesting point. He says it's kind of amazing how good children can get at things if allowed to learn as much as they like, and in the way that they like, which is something that the Montessori system is doing right now. I mean, even now I'm in the situation where I'm kind of wondering, give the children a bunch of tools and watch them kind of learn how to do things by themselves. It's the whole fish thing, but in a much more substantial kind of way.
I'd add to that too, that part of it is also treating kids as contemporaries or as equals. Like I don't talk down to kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big kid myself. You know, like I have no problem spending a Sunday afternoon playing Lego with my godkids, right? So
fantastic.
Yeah. And I will happily do it, and I will enjoy it, and I will not just because kids can tell when you are placating them when they say, hey, like, "Hey, Dad, look at what I built in Lego," and you just go, "Yeah, that's very nice,"
right?
But you have no idea what it is. Right. I will ask. I'll say, "What is it?
Yeah.
What have you? Why did you build it that way?" Because I think they would prefer to have real and honest feedback on things.
Yeah, Arbor says kids are basically tiny scientists.
Yes,
it's true.
Totally.
And they'll ask, and they will ask to no goddamn end. I save all of my talking down for adults. Oh, Dan, I know. I haven't experienced it yet, but I would not want to be on the receiving end of your talking down to adults. Yeah, I would imagine you do it very well. Also, Slaughtermelon, welcome. Thank you for being here. And to everybody else who's here, please do yourselves a favor. Go follow Gentleman Rhino. I posted his information. Streamlabs posted it, but I did it too. I think it's time to talk about the Rhino in the room as Origami.
Oh boy.
So here you go. There's a little artwork that you did for 8-Year-Old Squad Leader, and the cool thing is you can do such great art as well. So I get a little jealous. I have to use like thumbnail makers to just do the worst shit, and I just get a PNG of my face and put it on a cat and call it a day. But you get to do stuff like this, and you're actually, you're fantastic at it. Is what you do.
I love it. I love doing it. One of my favorite things about any kind of project is being able to make all the graphics for it, which I don't always get to do now that I'm consulting freelance. I'm involved in a project in a very specific way.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that's amazing about Twitch is just building everything. I love it. So,
well, I mean, Dan says your artwork is so great, and it is so great. Yesterday, when I was doing my research on your show, I went through approximately 3 years worth of Twitter. I did. I mean, that's what I have to do. But it was filled with so many awesome references. It was filled with so many visually pleasing things that it's rare that I've actually gone to somebody's Twitter and have it be like, just like every 2 or 3 posts, there was something visually stunning. So speaking about that, you mentioned, Vaughn Oliver was one of your artistic references. But who, like, if you had to pick, I don't know, pick some that you feel like really helped direct your art and who you feel like affected your art today.
So I think a lot of it depends on the medium. So illustration, I have very different references, and at one point I actually put together an inspiration map of some of the artists, and I'm trying to think of some of the names that are on there. Guy Davis is one of them.
Yeah.
And I know my art style doesn't necessarily always reflect his, but I've always loved his work. Kazu Kibuishi, who's the author and artist of the Amulet series of books, is someone that has inspired me, not just for his writing and artwork, but also for his approach to graphic novels. And he's very much a self-made artist and writer.
Yeah.
Ray Ortega is, I think, a local Torontonian, but I have one of his pieces on my wall, which I'm very happy about because I found his artwork through random wallpapers on the internet, and then found out that he was actually somebody local and saw his artwork in a gallery.
And listen, I just have to say, I've met a couple of amazing artists on Twitch. And artists, all sorts of artists. Poet Gabriel is here. Gabriel's a poet himself. Like, we have a carpenter. Big up for Arbor Vintage for being up in the chat. Like, everybody has things that they can offer, that they can share, and I think that's really, really cool. But they're not here right now, but Gossamer Art, I hope to have a conversation with her. I will share her art with you a little bit later, but it is astounding. And she was just chilling, 2 people watching, Pen talking to herself. I'm like, you are phenomenal. Neither here nor there. Okay, so I see where your references come from. The funny thing is that you have so much of an imprint that for me as a musician, I can hear 2 notes and I can know this is Trent Reznor, 9 Inch Nails. He wrote the soundtrack to this. I can listen to it and be like, this is Alan Silvestri, right? You as an artist, you can look at something and probably be like, okay, I know exactly who that is. I can't do that because my brain is wired differently than yours. I can appreciate it from the outside looking in, but you are in there. You are actually able to like see what they're kind of trying to do more than I can. I just hope I never
get challenged on that ability.
I just feel like, we're all of our brains are wired differently. So for me, it's music. I can kind of like pinpoint things that,
right.
If you're an artist, a visual artist, maybe you wouldn't be able to pick up on that. Some people have everything, which I think is just called genius, just being a genius. Origami is also, I believe, an artist as well. It's a skill you pick up. But yeah, American wanted to ask about my rum. American, do get the original Bumbu rum. Do not get the XO version. Yes, I tried like being able to taste ingredients in food. Yeah, I suppose there's a honed skill to it, like the more you learn about it, but I think a lot of it is also intrinsic. Okay, so let's talk. Damn, you weren't supposed to see that. God damn it. All right, fine.
I will stop reacting to things off screen.
No, it's fine. All right. What do you love so much about the superb bird of paradise, and why is this your favorite bird?
Oh my god.
I mean, I just want to know why this is your favorite.
Totally,
I mean, it's an awesome bird. Yeah, it looks normal.
Everything's fine.
And then all of a sudden... And then it just does this weird...
He's got two little eyeballs and a big blue mouth, and he's just hopping back and forth. And the other bird's like, WTF is going on here?
Yeah, you can see I went down quite a... It's an umbrella bird! Batty calls it an umbrella bird. But it's a cool bird. That was just a little something I thought was funny.
I'm gonna recreate the actual... I was trying to explain this bird to somebody
at the office. Dance. Yeah.
And I don't know if I'll be able to get this in focus, but I said, here, I saw this bird on this show, and this is what it looked like.
Are you gonna draw it?
Yeah. So this is not like expert drawing level, but come on,
focus, camera. Oh, almost there, Jedexia. Yo, welcome to the show. No, there you go. Yeah, that actually.
And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah.
That looks pretty
accurate.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now, okay, we keep skirting around it. The Emmy. You won an Emmy.
Yes.
You won an Emmy. You won an Emmy for but okay. There is
a caveat.
There is a caveat, but you know what? It's neither here nor there. I will let you tell us what the caveat is. Please do.
I will tell you the caveat, and I will tell you why I'm fine with people saying I won an Emmy.
Okay.
So the Emmy was for this project, Sleepy Hollow VR.
Yes.
And the Emmy was in the category of, I believe the actual wording was like outstanding user experience and visual design. And it's in an interactive category.
Right.
So the project itself is what won the Emmy. It's the producers who went up on stage, including the CEO and producer from the company I worked for, and the team that actually worked on the project. While we were there at the Emmys in the audience, we were not up on stage. We did actually get to hold the statue afterwards.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah.
Looking very confused and in disbelief. But so the thing about awards is that, and this is one of the things that I love about the place I was working at, which is Secret Location.
Yeah.
James Millward was one of the founders and one of the partners, and he went on stage and accepted on behalf of the company. The other people were from Fox, the TV station or the TV broadcaster that created the project, and two people from the company that actually produced the show, like the studio.
Okay.
So they're the ones who have their names on the actual statuette, except for James.
Okay.
Because he opted to put Secret Location, his
Right.
company name, rather than his own.
Okay.
And took us all in and said, this is not just a win for the people who worked on the project.
Yeah.
This is a win for the company, because even people in HR and in accounting, they all contribute to the company, and therefore contribute to the wins that the company has, which is awesome. Like that is very generous. And
but that way you can say, I mean, you were part of the creative team. I mean, this is your work, right?
Anybody can. So, and this is the thing about Hollywood film and television. When you see a producer going up for an award, or when someone goes up to accept an award and they thank a lot of people,
Yeah.
very often that's because there's a lot of people that contributed to that award happening whose names won't be on that award. Right. So, but those people can all say that they are Emmy Award winners because their work has won an award.
And what work did you do exactly for the Sleepy Hollow experience? And I saw the pictures, and I saw like the experience in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
I saw how much traction it got. This was 2015, I believe.
2014, 2015.
2014, 15. So what did you do for this exactly?
So, basically what happened was Sleepy Hollow had just finished its first season run, and it was a sleeper hit for Fox.
Yeah.
And they wanted to have something ready for Comic-Con in San Diego. And we went through our normal round of brainstorms and pitched that to Fox, and our connection at Fox, who is amazing. She was like, this is great, but I have a team that can do any of the stuff. Give me something that I can't do. Give me something that is really exciting. And in the room, James just went, how about VR?
Yeah.
And so the team got put together. You have to remember, this is extremely early days. Like, I think a week before we started working on this was when people started getting their first Oculus or Kickstarter-backed Oculus development kits.
Right. This was when it was just kind of starting and being at home accessible.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, most people still hadn't gotten their Kickstarter-backed kits yet.
Right.
Now, as a company, we always like to work in technology, and my career has sort of been defined by this as well, as storytelling through technology. How can I use technological platforms to enhance the storytelling experience? So we were used to picking up tech like Fitbit or fitness trackers, and then going online and seeing what people have been able to do with them, and then trying to figure out how we can use story, and then asking questions in forums and getting answers.
Yeah.
But when we were doing that with VR, it was so early that it was like crickets. There weren't a lot of answers out there. There weren't a lot of people even experimenting with this stuff yet. So we ended up having to find out answers on our own. we did a lot of research and development, and then put together, as you can see here, sort of this the get your head cut off snapshot. And that was also on its own something that was a little bit
and that's funny
novel.
because now that's pretty much how I do all of my YouTube thumbnails, except at the time that was kind of like, listen, we'll do it, we know how to do it, we'll do it for you. And now I basically open up Streamlabs and be like, you know. But at the time, that's awesome. And it was something that was shareable, and it was experience that was shareable. You take it, you post it, and people are like, oh, I want to know more about that, which was super smart, right?
So some of these layouts and storyboards, that's my arm there. So here's a 360 storyboard, just a very quick piece of concept art I threw together. Again, more like traditional storyboards, and then research into locations and into like set design that we could use. And I worked closely with a couple other artists on the project. Yeah. And then they went down and actually shot with Tom Meissen, the actor who plays Ichabod Crane. Yeah. So this one of the things that this project did, which hadn't been done before, was stereoscopic video of an actor in a 3D environment. Okay. So that was something that we also realized there's some really weird implications when you take two different formats of 3D and smush them together.
But here's the thing, right? So this is something I find interesting. There's a couple of things that I find interesting about this. First of all, it's the personal aspect of, okay, you did this, you were part of this amazing team. How did it manage to affect your career moving forward? But also the VR element of it, which I find really interesting too. Before we move on, Ericode, I want to say hello to Chelsea X. Thank you so much for coming in. Ericode said that's always annoyed me, considering the whole sort of process of the awards, right? Rayu is here. Hi, Rayu. It's always annoyed me. It's why it's nice when it's when they legitimately recognize them instead of just thanking them on stage. I'd like to thank, but this is for you guys. You put in the work. But considering we do have Menace here and he's chilling, and he has now, I think VR has become a lot more readily accessible. I wouldn't say it's there yet. Origami says VR is starting to get big ever since Sony jumped on the wagon, but I would say that you are close to an expert in this industry. Batty says, I would love to try VR, so much work goes into it. I agree. But even me, I got the Sony PSVR, I got the Samsung Google Box or whatever it was. I got all of these things, and every time I get it, I end up using it for approximately 3 days, and I never pick it up again. I don't know what it is that's putting me off about it. I don't know if it's the fact that it's just not easy yet, but maybe now it is with the new Oculus. It might just be there where you just have a headset and 2 controllers. Everything's downloaded straight into it. Are we there yet? Is VR the new medium? Because we've been saying that for 15 years.
So, I mean, I'll put it this way. The first headset that I've personally bought has been the Oculus Quest 2. Right. Because I felt like now it's at a point where I will use that. And I actually literally have been doing Beat Saber workouts every morning with my Oculus Quest 2.
Hollyax, thank you so much for the bits. Very kind of you. 600 biddies. What, just because we're talking VR? Damn, thank you. All right, and thank you for hosting the stream. Quan says VR has come really very far since its start. And Rayu has been looking for some VR streamers to watch. I like watching Menace to Tacos. It's a little weird because you get to see what they're seeing, but you also see, in our case, Menace to Tacos' lanky body moving around and kind of like doing all these things, right? But like, so you're enjoying it? You're enjoying the experience? You think it's like there?
Yeah. Well, I would say I hear your concerns 100%, and I would echo them as well. And I think that one of the reasons why is that, and this goes to almost every project that I do that's digital, is I talk about the ask. What are we asking our audiences to do in order to become entertained or to get entertained? Right. And so in any kind of multi-platform narrative where it's like, watch the show and then come log in on the website and make an account and find clues and unlock more webisodes, I'm like, what's the level of ask that we're asking for here? Right. Do we, will someone actually say, oh, I got to get off the couch, go log in. Now you want my personal information. Right. What am I getting? What's the reward? What am I getting out of this? So in VR, it's important to look at, what are you giving up for that immersion, for that immersive experience? Right. Well, you're giving up some comfort. Yeah. Right. You're not sitting on a couch, or maybe it is a seated experience, but then you're not fully immersed in sort of like the 6 degrees of freedom of moving around.
Right.
You're giving up the ability to literally have a snack. Like if you've ever tried to eat popcorn while watching something in VR, basically.
Yeah, okay, I get that. All right, I can see that.
You are giving up a little bit of dignity because most of the time in VR.
We saw Sir Benford. It was really quite funny. He didn't think anybody was watching, but his wife was streaming him while he was experiencing VR for the first time from their living room. And it was great. He actually got more views on that particular stream at that time than his regular streams did, just because it was fucking hilarious to watch. But that's neither here nor there. Arbor's like virtual snacks. Okay. Now they're talking about haptic feedback, and they're saying they're working on the proper haptic feedback. I mean, we're not reaching Ready Player One levels just yet. No. It's still going to take a minute.
This is so, I often talk about there's a lot of evangelists for VR, and then there's a lot of futurists. And I like to make a distinction between the two. And this is just my personal distinction. But an evangelist is someone who touts the benefits of a technology without any real consideration of how technology like this has been introduced before, or any of the downsides or negatives.
Right.
Of course, a futurist will look at things that have happened in the past to see how they impact the current situation.
Yeah.
So as a futurist, having done my research on television history, like it took a very long time for TV to go from concept to market to actually mass media and viable as a platform for anything.
Right.
Like we're talking about RCA being one of the first companies to invest in television and saying, within 3 years, we're going to have a TV set in everybody's home. And 13 years later, they have 1,500 TV sets in a very in a 50-mile radius of the Empire State Building. Like it was tiny.
Right.
13 years, so a full decade after what they had promised. And then it wasn't really until the 40s that it really started to take off because of the disposable income that returning GIs had, and because of the sort of like stimulus to the economy after World War II. So television took a long time to take off. And
it's really funny you mentioned this, because I've had a lot of conversations with people who are actually considering using their U.S. stimulus money to get Oculus.
Yep. So there's a correlation there.
FDR created must-see TV. In a way, I suppose you're right. Bob, welcome to the show. Very interesting. Neat to have Arbor. Thank you so much for chilling with us. And of course, Skeefily, thank you so much for chilling with us too. Eric Code said, but let's not progress it all too far. Don't want the Terminator or Matrix on our hands. We joke around about that, but I mean, are we not? I mean, we've had a lot of doom scrolling in our own classes stuff, and about where we are and where we're heading, and the privacy issues and concerns and all of that stuff. I mean, I don't necessarily want to go there. I don't want to go there because I suppose as a civilization, we're going to have to mold and evolve and change and pivot according to what's culturally acceptable and what's not, and put our own limits. Like, we're still so new. The only thing that concerns me is the exponential rate in which we grow now, in which we have to catch up with these challenges that pop out of nowhere. But that's a whole other conversation. Shout out to Richard. Yeah, shout out to Professor Richard. I don't know if he's here. Kwan says, I have some VR developers saying that augmented reality is really the next biggest thing. What do you think about that?
Yes. So I think one of the reasons that the people are touting augmented reality or AR as being sort of the next big thing is because of the ability for people to make money off of it.
Right.
And so the issue with virtual reality, and to be perfectly honest, and in one of the projects that I worked on, where we not only made a VR project, but we started to think about the future of immersive media, AR, VR, and mixed reality, MR.
Yeah.
I don't see there being a distinction between the two. I think that in virtual reality, you are transported to completely virtual environments. In augmented reality, virtual characters or artifacts are transported into our world. There's definitely a benefit or a different use case for augmented reality. And if you think about it, like, it can replace screens, right?
Right.
So
No, I mean,
if
this is what you're saying. You're saying is if we can make more, if the corporations or at least the larger companies can make more money off of it, chances are that's what's going to win. It's the whole Laserdisc versus Blu-ray thing,
or
again.
computers, right?
Or computers.
The home computer didn't become a thing until PCs, permeated the office.
Right.
And CEOs had secretaries that had personal computers, and then they decided, I'm going to buy one of these things for my home.
Right.
So there needs to be a utility. It needs to somehow make people's lives better. And right now, virtual reality...
Commodification! Yeah, basically. Yeah, that's exactly it.
It does feel a lot like a gimmick. I will admit that. I mean, like you said, a lot of the gaming experiences are still, a little bit behind where we are on console and PC. There's some really interesting 360 films out there, but it's not something that we're going to see in theaters anytime soon.
Right.
There's some really great location-based VR experiences, stuff like The Void.
Right.
But they're difficult to make profitable.
Right.
And there's a lot of factors that are involved that go way beyond whether or not it's a really cool experience, but have more to do with logistics and
well, Origami says he wants a real-life HUD. I think that would be interesting. But also, Bob Millen wants to know what the difference is between AR and mixed reality.
Not much. It's a marketing thing. So the idea is that the people who make mixed reality didn't want to be associated with augmented reality because augmented reality is what people were using to describe Snapchat filters,
right?
Essentially,
right.
So where it's just a flat 2D graphic posted on your camera footage on your phone, and that was considered augmented reality. So mixed reality, you're like, no, we're not that. We're actually trying to positionally place 3D objects in the world that you can see and that get occluded by other objects, so they can go behind desks and stuff like that.
Okay, well, anyway, I don't know. Bob wants me to play Resident Evil in VR. I will not.
Yes.
I will not do it. I will not do it. But before we move away from the Emmy, we glossed over it. Before we move away from that, some things don't age very well. Some things don't age very well, including a congratulatory tweet from Kevin Spacey, ladies and gentlemen. You got congratulations from Kevin Spacey. Congratulations, Secret, for creating the first virtual reality. I mean, look, it's kind of cool. I'm telling you, I went through things, man. I tried to find what I could. Look, some things don't age well,
Yeah.
The Emmy aged well. Kevin Spacey did not age well. Let's just keep it there. I'm not opening this up to discussion. Thanks, but please stop talking to me. All right. Okay. Now that being said, okay, I'm gonna swing another one at you. Who is Eugene Haslam? Who's Eugene Haslam?
Eugene is a very popular figure in Ottawa, in the Ottawa music scene, and anyone who is into good music and has lived or visited Ottawa will know Eugene Haslam as the former owner of Zaphod Beeple Rocks.
Right, Zaphod, yeah, and that was one of your local what do they call it? Local watering holes.
Hole.
Yeah.
It is by Ottawa standards, but I would say by Canadian standards, a legendary venue.
But it closed in 2000.
So it was Eugene sold. It went under new management, and then eventually it closed down. I don't know how popular bars are with kids these days.
With the youths.
Yeah, I don't know where the youths are going for their music
not very
and their
popular
beverages.
over the past year and a half, at least.
Well,
that's
no,
for sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a legendary. It was actually multiple venues, but it was legendary. A lot of Canadian talent came through there before they were big. Sometimes after they were big.
Erico, do you know this place? You're like, it closed in 2000. That's how it became legendary. You're not an Ottawan, are you? I don't believe you are. Also, Slaughtermelon is saying, I'd like to point out Tamara has showed off his stalking skills in class 2.
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
Yeah. I mean, you do what you can, right? You learn your backgrounds, okay? But you do have to remember that a lot of it is just personal conversations. And you and I spoke often about how You were a DJ, right? So you're not just a podcast creator, which again, we haven't even fucking touched yet. I really want to talk about that, but there's too much to talk about. Are you still a DJ?
No, I haven't done that for a long time. Before I moved to Toronto, I quit. I think it was a year or 2 years before I moved to Toronto. I quit DJing. So back like in 2008, 2009.
Yeah, Origami, I'm glad I'm using a business account, everything here. Good for you, smart. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of times I go and I ask people, listen, just for my own personal curiosity, do you mind sharing your socials with me? And then that's usually the end of it. I never have them on the show ever again. It's called investigative journalism. Thank you very much. But yeah, okay, so DJ is done. Then fine, let's talk a little bit about your podcast then. So you do a podcast as well. It's called Can't Sell This. What's the concept behind the Can't Sell This podcast?
So Can't Sell This was started by a good friend of mine and myself, Hugh Elliott. He is a creative technologist here in Toronto, and we met at a bunch of sort of like design creative events. We talked together on panels. I was a guest on a panel that he was moderating. And we just sort of became friends through work scene, even though we had never worked at the same place together and hadn't worked together.
Right.
And one day we were sitting in a bar and we were talking about projects that we had pitched but couldn't sell through. And in particular, I told him about a project where I had come up with an idea for a Marvel mutant X-Men character.
Okay.
Yeah. So I said, if I ever had the chance to write X-Men, I would write about a character. I would write the story where the X-Men are they're up against some foe, and they lose their powers, and all of a sudden in the next panel, there's this other dude there, and they're all just like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
And he explains that he is a mutant whose ability is that people can't remember him.
Ooh.
But he's been there through every single X-Men story and like draw the panels of him being there at all the biggest moments in X-Men history. And then together they fight off the villain and eventually get their powers back. And you just don't draw him anymore. And no one ever mentions him.
Mr. Deja Vu. Yeah, exactly.
And that is kind of the road I was going through. But it turns out, I've explained the story to a good friend, James Fraser. And he says, "Oh, Forget-Me-Not." And I'm like,
Forget-Me-Not. Yeah.
He's like, Forget-Me-Not. That's a Marvel X-Men character. He does exactly what you just said. And I was like, what? I had been telling people this story for like 5 years, and then he tells me this, and I look him up, and sure enough, Forget-Me-Not, which is a terrible name for someone who you do forget.
Yeah,
but
I think Deja Vu would have been better. Yeah.
He is an actual character, and I was like, holy crap. I literally came up with a character not knowing that he already exists. So technically, he used his powers on me.
Follow. Inoxified, thank you so much for the follow. Very, very kind of you for the follow. Yeah, Bob says, I have a hunch that things we would have expected to become big won't, or at least not yet, and things you thought won't will. Well, yeah. And then Eric Code says, yeah, that sounds pretty much like an internet since social media became a thing. Imagine that pitch in the room, though, Dan Spearin says. I mean, yeah, even everyone's thought of everything. It's kind of, so what? That's the reason you can't sell is because it was thought of before?
Because it had already been done, or because we didn't have rights to characters that are under someone else's IP.
Yeah.
Hugh and I discussed a project I called Black Creek, which was about the Universal monsters in a sort of Justified, if you know that TV show, scenario where Frankenstein comes back to Transylvania to basically solve a crime.
Oh, yeah, I remember this, yeah.
And the Wolfman and all the other characters are like... for lack of a better term, redneck criminals. Anyways, but
sounds very niche.
Yes. So a lot of our ideas, some of them came from our advertising days. So there's a lot of different ideas we talked about, and the show literally started off with just us riffing on ideas that we had either shelved or couldn't sell, or for whatever reason just never saw the light of day.
Wait, this is great. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Dan says because Marvel would never redo something. Also, Ting, hello. Also, Real Lego, hello. Don't worry about it. You guys are using reverse it where everyone remembers everything. Everybody remembers everything. Just a mass remembering thing that goes in the water, kind of like what's his name tried to do to Gotham. But Dan,
The Rememberer.
the remembrance is the rememberer. No, that
Rememberer. No. They call me the Rememberer.
It could work, but Dan hit upon something. Gotta go. Batty, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Go take care of the kids. Go act in their game of silliness. They're only young once. You're gonna miss it. Be careful not to miss it. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm
you do.
Every time I have 5 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go. I gotta go. Damn, we're kidding him. I gotta go. Speaking of what Dan said, Marvel never redoing anything, which of course they won't. Why? Why do you want to end Star Wars?
Why do I want to end Star Wars?
Yeah, why do you want to end Star Wars? You say enough is enough, but it's doing well, it's making money, it's making new fans, it's still creating fairly new content,
I
support this.
that Star Wars has become stale.
Stale. Okay, fair enough.
I feel
I
that
also support Ooh.
and again, this is just personal belief. So I think I was the only person in the theater for The Last Jedi to think, now we're getting somewhere. and I honestly think that if I had said that out loud, I would be dead today. But
I sense Harpua comes in. I sense someone hating on Star Wars.
It's not hate.
Like
It's
a million
100%
voices
the opposite.
cried out. Yeah.
It's my feeling is just that we've been told the same story over and over again for so long.
Yeah.
And the people in charge, the Star Wars toaster humidifier.
Are you talking about Mandalorian, Dan? Yeah, well, Lego says we can use the word stagnant. Harpua says sounds like hate. Inoxified said, not until Kenobi at least, please. I gotta say, the same way you're doing the things, some things work well with Marvel, some things don't. Some things are great. I think that Thor Ragnarok was my favorite Marvel movie because it was I'm blanking on the director, Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Because this did something completely so hilarious and entertaining at the same time. They took it in a way. Dan Favreau has been doing a fantastic job with The Mandalorian because it's a spaghetti western about a character that doesn't get a lot. You know what I mean? Like.
And I would say that The Mandalorian is an example of a traditional Star Wars done right, taking it and just continuing with the types of stories been told and understanding the references where it comes from and doing that story. But there's an interesting distinction. If you think about Mandalorian and you think about the Star Wars trilogies, the trilogies, the films have always been about horrible parents. Right? Think about it.
Sure.
It's about issues with parentage in all of them, or the kids becoming horrible because there's issues with parentage. The Mandalorian took that and reversed it and made it about a character who was not a father trying to become a good father.
And that's a primal reaction. That's like, you either recognize it and you feel it, you're afraid of becoming a parent, or like as a parent myself, I'm like, what if I'm not a good parent? And seeing somebody who struggles and all of a sudden has a natural love for something, an ability to grow. That's a primal thing. I just wanted to bring that up just to annoy you a little bit, but also Harpua got going, everybody else. The Dark Crystal, I'm going to call you the. I always call you the. Thank you so much for being here and chilling. And they also understand who the audience really is. Nostalgia Dads. That's me. Hi. Welcome. Star Wars will end when there are no more fathers. Die fathers. I mean, yeah, it's one way to look at it. Now, Star Wars, again, gotta keep moving. Too much to talk about. You did some work in your past on something I'm very excited to share. I don't know how much work you did on it, and to be perfectly honest.
Can I just say, I feel like I am on Guy Smiley's This Is Your Life, because you're just picking up stuff, and I'm just like, where are you finding this?
I know. I mean, everything is available. Did you work on the My Little Pony?
Oh, I did.
You worked on what was it? The game? What was it?
Yep.
You worked on the My Little Pony game?
Look at that CD-ROM. This is a CD-ROM game. Multimedia.
700 megabytes.
Ages 3 and up.
And was it a good game? I've never played it.
It was a game where you feed pizza to ponies. It's very bizarre. It is essentially just like a kid's activity game where you make your pony, you can color your pony. There's coloring books, there's birthday cake makers, things you can print out on your dot matrix printer.
Wow! Okay, you're killing me here. Yeah.
So it's like it was just a little like fun time pony thing. And I'll tell you a little story about Friendship Gardens. So this was my first video game project that I ever worked on.
Okay.
I'm a fresh kid out of school. I worked on some films in animation, and then I got a job at this place making animation for video games.
Okay.
The first thing they had me do was an angry walk cycle, because your pony could change emotions, and all those emotions had to be captured for every single action. So like walking or eating or whatever it was. So I had to do angry pony walk cycle. And the way that this worked was, and I was still really new to game animation. I could do all the drawings, did the walk cycle perfectly.
Yeah. Or
knew how to do a walk cycle. But then things like, oh, well, you don't color your pony in. This is something that you just color them in with green screen, basically. And that's the color that then the kids will replace or will color their own pony.
Okay.
So I made a green angry pony in a walk cycle. And then the other issue was it was drawn by hand on paper and then scanned in for the game. And I scanned it in at the wrong resolution. So when we tested it, there was like a happy pony walking around. And then when we made that pony angry, they grew to 10 times the normal size and were green. So I essentially
made green angry pony. Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. Listen, I mean, this is an 18+ stream, but when you talk about, the green angry pony, I kind of feel like it could be a kink reference. You know what? I don't know why. I just feel like it could be Hulk pony. All right, so yeah, basically everyone feels like now after I put that up, we're going to be put on the FBI watch list. I don't know why. It's just My Little Pony. None of us here are bronies, or I don't know what they're called, but still,
This was way before any of that existed.
You do you. Otherwise, somebody else will do you. Also, not meant to be taken literally, but that's one of my things. Green Angry Pony is the name of the new wave cover band. Also works.
Totally is.
Whoa, stepped away there for a minute. Came back to us talking about My Little Pony from Star Wars. Yeah, well, Stefan was talking about how he actually did some of the animation for the game in 1998, My Little Pony. So I was just sharing that. Where can I buy it and can I get it autographed? That's what Harpua sells. Bob says, here's an idea. Something goes terribly wrong. The main character remembers everything about something from before they were born, that they were never there. Oh my God. But they don't remember their life, everything. Bob, I can't. I can't. I'm already lost. Overlays match the It's true. It's true. My overlays do match the My Little Pony aesthetic. I know that. I went for the bubblegum look. Actually, a very good friend of mine. You know who did my overlays? Emily. Emily did my overlays. Another friendo from our master's class at Ryerson. Great class, by the great school. Great mentors. That was good. All right. Have Stefan read it. If he wants to read it, he can read it. A Swedish band he wants you to read the Bob Millen idea. Here's the idea. So okay, I'll let you read it. Go for it.
Something goes horribly wrong. Then the main character remembers everything about something from before they were born.
Yeah.
That they were never there.
Yes.
But then they don't remember their life.
Oh, shit.
Everyone else doesn't have any proof that he was at the thing he wasn't at, except they can have proof by hearing him from that time on a certain radio frequency. But he doesn't remember saying those things or being back then. And then they have proof he wasn't from history.
Can you sell it? Can you sell it? Can't sell it? Can you sell it?
Massage that into something? I think so.
I think you could turn that into something for sure.
So here's something before we move on, this is something I want to bring up. So because I work in multi-platform narrative, immediately my brain is like, audio? Okay, cool. There's something we could do there with a podcast.
Right.
Connected to potentially to some kind of web series so that the web series tells the main story of people trying to figure out where this person is from and why he can't remember his normal life. But the podcast is the actual audio transmissions from history.
Whoa, heavens, you got excited there. Look, you got excited. That's good. All right, now we actually we're just to let everybody know, this is pretty much the end of the official interview. Now we're just kind of like wrapping up and we're just having ourselves a good time looking at pictures. So I'm looking at pictures of the trip that we took to Orlando as part of our course. Our course was great. It was entertainment and theme management, right? So one thing we had to do was we had to go to Orlando. This was literally we had to go to Orlando. We had to go to Disney World and Disneyland and to Universal Studios. And we had to for our course.
Mandatory.
And we came back, and 1 week later, it was COVID. 1 week later, everything shut down. It was COVID. So we managed to catch the last of this. I'm looking at some of the pictures. There we are in front of Hogwarts. That's me, a very chunky me. That's you. That's the dude. He didn't impress me. That's our buddy. Like he didn't impress me. Like, but
oh, Robin.
We'll get there. We'll get there again one day soon. I was trying to see if we had any other. It was a fun time,
Where's Hulk?
Man. Hulk, here's Hulk, and Harpua says, immediately research his program. Yes, that's what I'm trying to do. Harpua says that picture looks a certain way. I don't know what he means by that, but I'm not gonna yes. It's been 1 year today since we had our... That's not what that meant. I wonder where that picture is of us doing the miming. Remember the miming? The miming when I was like holding out my hand and you were like, I don't know, worshiping my butt.
Oh, from class, from the improv.
The butt worship picture. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I've actually gone ahead and I finished everything that I had prepared for you. The only thing I'm going to leave you with right now is this is your profile picture on Stop's researching program. That's it. It's done. Yes. The butt was too much. That was a different class, Dan. That was actually a different class, I'll have you know. So this is your intro to your page, or this is your about you. Everything is great. Everything is wonderful. Picture's a little intense, but otherwise it's a little, it's good. The only thing that I find out of place is like everything's here. 20 years professional experience, futurist, focused on immersive content. And we go to everything. Emmy winning, great. You included that. Generally a positive and likable person. Here, just generally, just
a nice guy.
Generally, like, call back to Kevin Spacey. Well, look, you got a shout out from Kevin Spacey. You could be a very generally and likable person. I don't know. But anyway, I will end it there. Stefan, dude, thank you so much for hanging out with us today, man. Hanging out with us. I mean, it's literally just you and me. Generally okay. DVD cover. It sounds like an overly specific point to make. I'm not a weirdo.
Fine.
It's fine. Look, I think it's cool to have like a human touch in your CV, in your professional things. Name of your sex, like generally okay. But Stefan, dude, thank you so much for being here. One more time to the people in chat, if you have not followed our guest today, please do so. Go check out his gaming channel, Gentleman Rhino. It's right up there. You can follow him on Twitter. You can follow his personal art account, his account, find out what's going on in his website. He's doing so much cool stuff. I honestly, I can't wait to see what you're going to do next. I hope in some way, shape, or form we can do something together at some time. We'll just have to see whether that works out. And you know what? This is it. I'm going to give you a chance to say, oh yeah, what Dan wanted me to do something to do the Henry Lipton thing and be like, if God were to talk to you right now, what would he tell you? Something like that. I don't know. What would he say to you?
If God could talk to me right now, what would he say to me?
Yeah.
Stop procrastinating.
Oh, I thought you were just keeping it. Just stop.
Just
stop. Just stop.
Get off the internet.
Come on, we got to go. Ladies and gentlemen, Stefan Grambart, thank you so much. And by the way, final thing. Make more pony games.
Pony games. Why is God now Schwarzenegger?
I call you Stefan Grambart.
Yeah.
It's my Quebecois way of saying, oh, my good friend Stefan Grambart is gonna be on the show today. He's gonna be wonderful. That's horrible Quebecois accent. Horrible. I won't do it. Ting, thank you for hanging out. Dan, thank you for hanging out. Origami guys everywhere. God cannot afford to be seen with somebody associated with Kevin Spacey. Good point. All right, we will stop with the Kevin Spacey. This is where I say we will stop with the Kevin Spacey. I have to go ahead and do this, which means we're not gonna see you. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I gotta go to my end stream. Stefan, thank you so much for hanging out. I'm gonna hang up on you because I have to do my goodbye, so you can say goodbye. You can't see you, but you can say goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for showing up. I had a lot of fun.
There
Bye.
you go. All right, I'm gonna go do my really cool thing and do my credits. Here's how we do my credits. Oh, I don't have it open. Yes, I do. Wait, check this out. I'm always so happy when I get a chance to do this. Look, 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 look. There you go. Credits roll, everybody. We're going to go ahead and do something cool because we're about to go raid. I don't know who we're going to raid. Who are we going to raid? We're going to raid.
Stop it.
Tamara, stop it. I'm talking here. You don't have to talk over me. I'm going to find out who's live and go send some love their way. Everybody, thank you so much for chilling with me today. One more thing. Tomorrow, before I lose your attention too much, tomorrow we are doing the drunk makeup stream. I'm doing the drunk makeup stream, so that's going to be starting at 7:30 p.m. I'm probably going to start drinking at 7:30. It was a community challenge. I thought 50K was going to be a lot. It really wasn't a lot. We managed to fill that up within 3 hours. 3 games, so we're going to do that. I'm going to go send you to a very, very good friend of mine, the first person that I actually ever had on the T-Show. You did your first drunk stream last night. Thanks for Mike Ridiculous. I didn't know you were here. Thank you for being here. And Gentleman Rhino, thank you so much. Give me that Quan Tamarade. Let's get the hype going. Let's go see my buddy Hemorrhaging Gaming 5150. I like to call her Hemo. She's playing Fallout 4. Please do give her a wonderfully friendly hello. Let's get ready to start and bring you over to her channel. We got 7 people. We got 8 people. We got 13 people. We got 15 people. We got 20 people. We got 21 people. We got 23 people. 23 people works for me. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, I will see you tomorrow, 7:30, to do my drunk makeup stream. Be there or be some kind of obtuse angle thingamajig. Gentleman Rhino, thank you for being here. Have a great afternoon, everybody.